Hey boys, it's HarmNone. Today we're going to be going over all of the vehicles that have a stealth ability in Grand Theft Auto Online. Now if you don't know what a stealth ability is in GTA Online, that basically means that these vehicles on this list are going to be removed from the radar when you do a particular thing with them or when you activate a stealth mode that the vehicle may or may not have. These vehicles are very useful against players because they're not going to be able to see you on the minimap. That is what stealth does. It completely removes you from the minimap. It also removes you from the expanded map that you go to in the pause menu or the expanded radar that you can activate by pressing down on the D-pad or pressing Z on PC. Anyway guys, let's go ahead and get it started off with number 7. Now at number 7 we have the Avenger, coming in at $3,450,000, but it's going to cost you a lot more to do all the upgrades to it in order to actually get this stealth module. Now the Avenger already had many great features and a few more were added with the addition of the LS Mercenaries DLC into Grand Theft Auto Online, and with this DLC we got stealth mode added for the Avenger, but it works a little bit weird. Now the Avenger has an autopilot feature, and when it's in autopilot you can choose to have a stealth module or a missile lock-on jammer. Now of course the Avenger being upgradable in the hangar is pretty new, so if you haven't played the game for a while this is probably going to be a newsflash to you, but yeah, you can upgrade the Avenger in the hangar. The reason the Avenger is at number 7 here is because I feel like the stealth mode on it is the most useless of all the stealth mode vehicles in the entire game, because obviously the Avenger has to be in autopilot mode in order to have the stealth activated, which of course even if it's in stealth mode you can still see the Avenger because it's huge, just floating in midair in autopilot. So it's not super great. The Avenger itself is a great vehicle, but the stealth feature isn't that great, and this just got added into the game, so that's the reason that I placed the Avenger at number 7. Let's go ahead and talk about the next stealth vehicle, which is more of a true traditional stealth vehicle in Grand Theft Auto Online. At number 6 we have the Alchemist, coming in at $3,300,000 up to $4,350,000 if you don't have the trade price for it. Now the Alchemist is one of the largest planes in all of Grand Theft Auto Online, next to the Volatile and the Bombushka, but even those planes really pale in comparison. The Alchemist is absolutely huge. However, oddly enough, the Alchemist does have a stealth capability that is automatically activated by getting beyond 500 meters in the air. So you have to get pretty high up with the Alchemist, but once you do, you will be completely removed from the minimap as well as the expanded radar and the map in the pause menu. So this is pretty insane. Now the Alchemist also does have a bomb bay that can be loaded with several different types of bombs. Overall, this isn't going to be super useful, but it does have a stealth mode ability, which is pretty cool, and it's something that you probably wouldn't expect about the Alchemist unless you already knew. So that's it for the Alchemist. Let's talk about number 5. At number 5, we have the Ultralight, coming in at $500,000 to $665,000 if you don't have the trade price. The Ultralight is a relatively underused and kind of underappreciated vehicle in Grand Theft Auto Online, albeit for somewhat good reasoning. However, with the carbon propeller upgrade that you can do within the hangar workshop, while you're moving at idle, gliding, or otherwise barely accelerating in the air, the vehicle is removed from the radar entirely, which is pretty insane. It's definitely an interesting and cool feature, and it can also be equipped with a mounted machine gun for shooting at enemies, which has the same damage as the Stromberg machine guns, which are very powerful. This thing actually shreds, and it's super good because it's a very tiny little plane, and if you do this at nighttime, your enemies are going to have a really hard time actually spotting you and taking you out of the Ultralight, especially if you're not accelerating with it, because that is when you're in stealth mode. The Ultralight is one of the coolest vehicles in the entire game that barely gets any sort of attention. I would definitely recommend looking into the Ultralight if you guys haven't before. It is actually kind of a riot, I have to say. Next up at number 4, of course, we have the Annihilator Stealth, coming in at $2,900,000 up to $3,900,000. The Annihilator Stealth is a pretty decent helicopter in Grand Theft Auto Online. It's far from the best, but it does have a stealth mode option, which does bring it up a few places for sure. It's activated by pressing right on the D-pad or by holding H on PC. Something that's unique about the Annihilator Stealth, it can hold 6 players, which is more than most other helicopters in the game and more than any other stealth vehicle in the entire game. And 4 of the players that it can hold that sit in the back have the option to rappel out of the helicopter as long as it is relatively close to the ground, which is a pretty neat feature. Now the Annihilator Stealth can also be equipped with a 4 missile barrage pod or a homing missile pod on the sides, as well as dual machine guns, which is pretty cool. So it does have some offensive capability, and of course when you're in stealth mode you're not able to use those weapons, but when you're out of stealth mode you can. So the Annihilator Stealth is pretty decent, not the fastest helicopter, not the coolest helicopter ever, but it does have some unique features and it is a pretty decent vehicle overall for the money. Let's go ahead and talk about number 3. At number 3 we have the Kasatka submarine, coming in at $2.2 million, or at least starting off at $2.2 million. You can run it up to about $9 million once you've got everything on it. And the Kasatka obviously has some pretty great features, from being able to launch the Cayo Perico heist, which unfortunately has been nerfed now, and being able to find underwater treasure using the sonar system, as well as you can dock vehicles in it like the Toreador Stromberg or the mini submarine, and of course the Sparrow that you can buy for it as well. But to activate stealth mode on the Kasatka, it's very simple. All you have to do is dive underneath the surface of the water a little ways and you'll find yourself completely removed from the radar. The Kasatka is one of the best ways to hide in this entire game, because once you get under the water in the Kasatka, you will be very hard to find ever again. If you haven't tried this out before in a public session, you definitely should. It is some pretty good fun. Get into some little beef with somebody, run to your Kasatka and go underwater and watch them scramble to try to find you. It is actually quite hilarious. The Kasatka is definitely a pretty good stealth vehicle. Let's go ahead and talk about number 2 though. At number 2 we of course have the Akula, coming in at $3,700,000, up to $4.5 million now because of the price increase that happened back in April. The Akula's stealth mode can be activated the exact same way as the Annihilator Stealth by pressing right on the D-pad or H on PC, and you can choose to equip homing missiles or a 4 missile barrage, as well as dual miniguns for yourself, and you can also upgrade your co-pilot's weaponry to be, instead of a single minigun, into a dual minigun, so that is pretty cool. The Akula can hold 4 players, which is awesome, and it's actually a very fast helicopter in Grand Theft Auto Online, easily within the top 10. And of course you can upgrade the handling on this vehicle as well, with race handling to make it a little bit more responsive when you're actually flying it, which is a very nice feature to have, of course. Everybody probably knows about the Akula by now, so let's go ahead and talk about number 1. And of course here at number 1 we have the F-160 Raju, coming in at $5.1 million, up to $6.8 million if you don't have the trade price. Stealth mode on this can be activated the exact same way as the Akula and the Annihilator by pressing right on the D-pad or H on PC. The F-160 is also equipped with dual explosive cannons, as well as homing missiles and free fire missiles as well. On top of this, it's also got a VTOL mode similar to the Hydra, but the VTOL mode on the Raju is a lot more responsive than the Hydras, and it does allow you to actually rotate the vehicle at a significantly greater angle towards the ground. So if you're fighting somebody in VTOL mode, you can actually aim at the ground pretty easily with it and then quickly switch out and go back to regular flying mode. It's also one of the fastest accelerating planes in Grand Theft Auto Online, if not the fastest accelerating plane, and it has a pretty decent top speed as well. The F-160 Raju has changed the game in Grand Theft Auto Online as far as aircraft go. It is really good, and you should absolutely be picking up an F-160 if you don't have one already somehow. Such a great plane, definitely a high recommendation of mine. Anyway guys, that is it for all of the stealth vehicles in Grand Theft Auto Online. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you learned something, a like is of course appreciated, if not dislike. Subscribe to my channel if you guys are new. Comment down below if I missed anything or if you think my order in this list should change. Subscribe to my channel if you guys are new, and I will see you all in the next video. Until then, take care. Peace.